as you're watching Christina's Motivating Moments. I'm Christina Murray, your host,
and I'm Alexander Massey, love the co-host.
Thank you so much. We're here with our lovely Personal Connect panel. Thank you guys for being here.
Thank you for having us.
Thank you for having us.
You're more than welcome. As you know, we've been talking about reconciliation. Now, that is a very, very serious subject because we know that things happen all the time in relationship, but we're talking about the know-how, how to get up and move on, how to rectify your wrong, and how to mend relationships. As you know, we have people that email us all the time and ask us these kind of questions. So we have 4 for you today that our panel is going to help us, bring some clarity or understanding or even give us some advice. So the first one I'm going to talk about is there was a woman that wrote into us, and she said she had not talked to her brother in over 10 years.
Wow.
And I mean, that's a long time.
That's a long time.
Just to think about being raised with someone in the same house and to be so close with that person and then to have them absent or missing for 10 years. That is a very, very long time. Mm-hmm. So she wanted to find out how can she rectify the relationship with him? What are some things that she can do to maybe reach out and get his attention? We can start with the ladies because the guys won't think about it for a minute. So what do you guys think?
Well, one of the things that I would suggest is just writing a letter. I mean, when you get a letter from someone, whether you like that person or not, the minute you start reading, it's kind of like you don't stop most times till you get to the end. So
I like that. I like that. That's advice that I give all the time, and I can, I want to second that for a minute because the truth of the matter is, when you have a conversation with someone, they have a tendency to be, defensive. So a lot of times you don't always get that thought out. So if you write a letter, I guarantee you they're going to read every single word that's on that paper or that's in that email. And if one don't work, then you should do several. So you wanna weigh in on this, guys? Can we talk about?
I'm a video guy, so I just video record mine through the laptop computer and be like,
oh my God!
Because once they start watching the video, they're gonna turn it off. Like, this is what I want to say. Here's all my thoughts, so they can't interrupt. But I try to keep it, say it nice. But no, I've done that
you know what?
before,
now that's beautiful.
That's
what you call exactly.
That's creativity.
Suggestion. Yeah. I like that. If you have the way to record yourself, let me throw a song in it too. Leave a little song. That'd be nice.
One of their favorite songs, maybe.
There you go.
Have it in the background,
That's beautiful. Okay, Eugene, jump on in with us.
What I would do, basically, once you have a relationship with the Lord and you can forgive yourself, you can then begin to forgive others. So a lot of times people tend to hold on to things and someone's stealing your joy and you're stressing yourself out daily. Sometimes you just want to move forward. And so part of moving forward is learning to forgive. So I think it'd be in her best interest to reach out and just make a phone call, possibly see if they can set up a time that they can actually meet face to face. Because sometimes when people see you and they hear your voice, sometimes in a sense that discerning spirit that we all have, that inner person, you kind of know if someone really is sorry.
You know what?
I agree with that.
I agree with that. And I'm gonna let you go in just a second. But when you were speaking just a few minutes ago, I was thinking about another case that was very, very similar to that. And in that case, the woman did not know what she did wrong. So in either case, what you just said will definitely apply. Even if you don't know what you did wrong, call them up, talk to them, and once you get them face to face, you can give them an opportunity to tell you what you did wrong. Simply because you haven't seen them in years and why they're not reaching out to you, you can find out. So I think that's great.
Yes.
What I was going to say was, first of all, you have to come to a realization that somebody has to be the bigger person.
Exactly.
That's true.
Because if both of y'all are thinking on the same lines, that, hey, I'm not going to speak, I'm not going to talk to that person, then you'll never get there.
Yeah, that's
so
true.
somebody has to be the bigger person and say, you know what, I'm going to just go ahead and absorb this, and I'm going to reach out to that person.
Okay, well, let me ask you guys a question that's a little off for a minute. I'm going to let my wonderful co-host get to the next question. But again, as we talk about this, things are just coming to me. And I guess one of the things that we will have to do is first just decide if you want to rectify it. You have to think about it. Do I want a relationship with this person? I mean, what did that person bring to me?
Well, even if you don't want a relationship with a person, you don't want a negative relationship with a person. You don't want to be watching over your shoulder. So it has to be some degree of dissolving it where it's like, even if we can't see common ground, let's understand that, I don't hate you or wish the worst on you, so don't wish the worst on me.
So basically,
at worst case scenario, after you try to rectify it in the calls and the emails and the letters and the videos and Twitters and Facebooks.
So whether you want to continue a long-term relationship with them or just the fact that, hey, there's no bad blood. There's just, you know,
Just clean up
respect.
with
And then a
mutual
positive
respect.
note, it
Just
has to be
clean it
some
up.
sort of mutual respect, because aside from, you got to think, well, before the ideal, before the turmoil happened, we obviously had some way to see eye to eye, so we respected each other as people, and we're still people beyond that hump in the road.
And I definitely agree with that, because basically just putting closure for yourself. Even if sometimes you may reach out and someone may not receive you, but
Yeah,
you've
that's
done your
true.
part.
Exactly.
And you
That's
move
true.
on, so that's enough.
I like
That's
that.
true.
Okay, well, we
but,
got
but I'd also like to add too, whether you were right or wrong, and then especially if you're the person that was, you know, wrong, you still have to decide what's most important, whether the relationship is important or actually being right or wrong.
Now, that's a
Wow.
very strong
I love that. I love
Glad
that.
you
And I
put
have
that in
something else
there.
about that, but we're going to come back to that. Go ahead with your question.
Well, my question is very interesting, because you know, most men find this being an issue, you know, because, you know, after you done cheated in things, how do you
I
get
love
back
the way
in? How you
you
get
put
back in
that.
there? You know what I mean? How you get back in there? You know what I mean? Because they hurt, they feeling bad. You know, oh, you betrayed me. You
Alex,
know,
is this a personal question you're asking?
This is not my question. This is not my
Been there
question.
before.
So
Yes.
I'm just saying, how do you get back in there? Because, you know, men, I mean, hey, whatever you done messed up, I'm not saying y'all have. I'm not saying y'all have.
we
I ain't saying
never
I
messed up,
have.
right? We never messed up.
Like that, honestly.
But
Yeah,
how
we
do
get it
you
all the
get
time.
back in there? You know what I mean? I mean, go ahead and.
Well, definitely, I would say with a situation like that, you messed up, you fell short. A lot of times, you know, why did you mess up? Was it because it was a lack of communication in the relationship? Was it a time that, you know, your lady was not meeting your needs? Did you ever express that to her? What was the reason for you messing up? Not saying it justify you cheating or nothing like that, but trust is the key. So what you're going to have to do is start to rebuild that trust. You can say I'm sorry, but it comes at a certain point where you have to start showing and making your woman feel comfortable. Like, as far as you may need to be home, you know, you get off work at 5, you may need to be home at 6 for a while to let her know that you.
So basically, make sure
Okay.
you cover your behind. I'm about to say the other word. Cover your behind.
I like
Make
that.
sure you ain't giving that no reasons
You know what?
to get
Exactly.
caught. So you ain't got to be cheating at that point. But, you know, we got some
Main
other
thing,
stuff.
because it's like definitely the whole trust and communication factor of it, because it's like everyone wants to know, why did you do it? And sometimes you have to really sit down. Not that I've been in that situation, because rule one is don't put yourself in that situation. Let it be done. And that wasn't a clarifying statement. You know what I'm saying? I'm just saying, it's like, I think if you were to sit down, because I know I've been cheated on, so I wanted to know, it's like, why, what was going through your head, so I can try to understand. It's like, okay, everyone has their weak moments. Was it alcohol? Was it drugs? Was it me? It's like, were you just, was it a weak moment? But it's like, I would want to know, so at the same time, you explain to that person, let them know it wasn't because I didn't love you or because of any physical feature or because of a cash. It was because either I wanted that person because she was pretty or fine or drunk, or I was just caught up in the moment. It wasn't right, but then you have to let the person know I still care for you. So it's like, even though it's just so much confusion and
I
everything.
love that. You know, that's well said. You men are just, ladies, y'all got to wait till come on, because the men,
I mean, man,
we
that's
got
what I'm waiting.
communication,
I'm waiting
and
to
we
hear.
got to, you know, put action to the words. I mean, come on, ladies. If you, now you have to put yourself in the woman's position here.
And that y'all have cheated.
No, not that we cheated. We've been cheated
No,
on.
that was the question.
It's the 10
The
years.
question-
2013, that's how it go
The question
down.
was,
You know what I'm saying?
How do you get back from
Okay,
being the one that cheated?
If you
Okay, there we
cheated, if you cheated, and it's been 10 years, how do you rectify
10
that?
years.
I mean, you've been together for 10 years. You didn't cheat for 10 years. You've been together for 10 years. Let me clarify that. How do you make him feel, you know, manly? How do you, you know, basically give him back his pride and his ego? Because truthfully, that's mostly what's been hurt. How dare you type of thing. So as a woman, what do we need to do to...
Well, I don't know if I can speak on a woman cheating because.
Okay, that's enough. This personal panel is.
Come on now.
Listen.
Copywritten.
Because understanding and communication is the biggest key. And in a relationship I have pursued or been in, I believe in letting you know what I'm saying, how I feel. And if at any point you feel I'm not giving you your attention, your time, whatever you feel solidifies our relationship, communicate that to me. Now, what I will say is a lot of times, not the women, but the men are more unforgiving when it comes to cheating.
They are.
Okay, so reconciliation, if the woman is the one that's cheated, can be very, very difficult. You know what I'm saying? Because
I know why.
Because Why?
I'm sorry. I think it's harder for men to forgive because in most cases women, once they get to that level, they already fell in love and felt secure and all that stuff like that. The emotions have been engulfed. So I know if my wifey did that, then she must have really been feeling you.
Yeah.
Me would have had some moments or something. So then we thinking it's like, well, you'll never want to think that your wifey is that woman. So it's like it's a hard pill to swallow.
Okay,
You know what I'm
since you took it, that level. Okay, I love this. Audience, we're gonna turn the tables for just a few minutes.
Interrupt,
No, I love that.
It's okay.
It's okay. You brought out a very valid point. So now let's bring it back on the men. When a woman has betrayed you, what can she do to make the situation better? What will you accept?
That question just sounds big.
That's very valid.
And everything else.
So she got to cook, she got to clean, she got to bring you roses, she got to be romantic, she got to...
It's just like, I don't know. That's a hard question. I let him start. That's a hard question.
For me, I'll say, it definitely her just showing me versus talking. You know, it get to a point where she's learning to build. I need to build that trust again. Because, at the first beginning, like, say every day when she got off from work, she said, I'm going to stop by my mom, and she was having this affair. So now when she get off from work and, she's gone, for that certain period of time, your mind's going to instantly feel like, okay, maybe she's somewhere. But then it got to get to a point where she got to be willing to say, hello, give you a call and just stuff like that. Even though we feel like we don't need it, but you have to. It's more or less you got to do a little bit more, and that's what I was talking about earlier.
Well, we're gonna go on with that question, but I do briefly want to say, how much of that? When do we cut that off? If I've been calling you and say, honey, I'm leaving Publix and going to Winn-Dixie, do I got to do that for 2 years? Do I do that for 3 years?
But you know what? If you're wrong and you're the one that cheated, you need to be ready to endure some pain. If you want to keep that relationship, if it means that much to you, you got to be able to endure the pain.
Speak it, sister.
That's a valid.
That's true.
We're gonna go to the next question.
That's a valid concern. Where you were saying it's like how long. It's kind of like you definitely cannot put a time frame on it. But I think actions either way are going to help that. It's like I'm saying, it's like that you violated that big breach of trust. So if you're hanging out late or if your phone happened to die, different things like that, all these scenarios are going to create ideas which can bring out those emotions again and have you thinking, which in turn have us acting like funny, and then we're acting funny to it because we want to forgive, we want to do all that stuff, but it's still hard. So it's just like that's a hard question.
You know what? I love this. I love this. Relationship.
But we do want to
is
right. Right.
That's another show by itself. We're going to go all into relationship. Moving on to the next question. Best friends. Now, we have all been in that situation where we've had someone that is truly, really, really close to us, and maybe at one point in time they did something to offend us, or we did something to offend them. How do you go about, getting the trust back? Because of the difference when it's a personal relationship, as far as intimate, in a relationship, and then you have friends, because, you can feel betrayed simply because that friend now have other friends they're hanging out with more than you. That little, that kind of stuff.
Dating the girl you was trying to date in high school.
That happened to her.
You can't keep that one,
So how do we rectify our relationship as far as friends to get back to that friend that we had, before? Because you never want to lose that closeness. So what are different ways once you've lost that or it's been betrayed, you can get it back?
I think that starting off, you should do the same thing. Communication, as far as letting them know, look, at this time when I did whatever I did, I was going through these things. You know what I'm saying? We all grow. That's not me anymore. But you know what I'm saying? I do realize now that I made a mistake. I realized then, but we weren't talking. Maybe we were both feeling each other. But when I did realize, the moment you realize, you got to clear. You got to say, wow, I made a mistake, and I know it ain't time, but I apologized a year ago. Now I'm back here because I didn't mean to take that little bit of money or date her or kiss her or whatever it is that those people do.
So when you say with friendship, so when it was a friendship, it's safe to say it's more of a maturity thing. Exactly. Relationship is going to be tit for tat. We understand there's going to be certain things.
Well,
but
same
friends,
thing with relationship.
Grow. And so we learn how to handle our friends differently, right?
That's true.
Yeah, I would say that. I would say that. But sometimes, even back in high school, that friend, demonstrated some things that were not, I guess, loyal, or what you would characterize as, friendship material, just different things. But if you've accepted that character all that long time, why are you not shocked? Because he dated that girlfriend you wanted in high school.
Oh, because of growth.
But you got to know your friends. You got to know who they
Yeah,
are from the get-go.
Yeah,
I
and it's
mean-
like if it's been somebody that's been repeating that process. I've had friends that way where it's like, you know what I'm saying, I always liked something about them, but then throughout the years they do funny stuff, and then finally I get to the point where it's like, you know what, I don't want to be around your funny stuff. You are not a true friend, but you know what I'm saying? It's like,
You know, that brings us back to something that, you know, Alex has said before, and he said it, you know, several times. It's basically like, you know, knowing, you know, the situation at hand, you know, having an understanding. So is it safe to say that most friendships don't have healthy boundaries? And we don't talk about it. You're like, okay, girl, you know he's off limits. A lot of times it's after it happens. You know,
I think people don't realize it. I think
we have a tendency
But
to
then
set boundaries.
too, even if that person's never crossed boundaries with you, you've seen them cross boundaries with other people, but you felt like you were special, that they would never do that to you.
Yes, but
then you should talk about
I
it.
believe if y'all going into a relationship, it was a situation where a friend was cheating or involved with someone you was involved with. If you're talking from that angle, pretty much you shouldn't have to say, if me and him best friends, I shouldn't have to say this is off limits. My best friend would know what's off limits. You don't have to express that.
A lot of people
in
make a
today-
mistake for that because
Well, once it happened, well,
if we're
exactly.
friends,
Yes.
I'm sorry, but if we're friends and let's just say we've done everything together.
Yes.
I mean,
Yes.
what why we still can't do everything together now?
Yes.
You know,
Well,
it's
it's like-
break those limits. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
It's
but
like-
you know what?
I kind of agree where it's like certain things should be defined and say, you know what, this girl's off limits. Like all the other ones we didn't do it, but though sometimes when it's something, no, just saying,
You should verbalize it.
yeah,
It should-
but you know,
And so the friends that are watching, it is very, very important that you set boundaries and don't assume that your friend know exactly how you feel about another person or feel how you feel, you know, understand how you feel about a situation. You should verbalize it. If it means something to you, share it with your friend. So we're gonna move to the next question, Gwen.
Oh, next question. Oh, yeah, that's a good one. That's a good
it is one.
because the reason why I say it's a good one is because, you know, we're talking about reconciliation or whatnot, and how do you get back in there? I mean, is when you say sorry, is saying sorry enough? Just saying sorry. I mean, some
Sorry
people
enough.
take it, you know, it's your
Not
delivery.
Not
How
always.
is it?
Not
We're
always,
gonna let you
because you can hear sorry all day long, 24/7, 365 days out of the year. And there's no emotion behind it. There's no action behind it. And I've had people tell me I'm sorry, but I'm looking at them like, you're not really sorry.
I mean, but what if that's just not an emotional person? Because I've had people come to me and they're literally on their knees and they're crying, please forgive me. And I'm like, oh, you know, tearing, you know. And then 2 days later doing the same thing.
But I'll tell you why, because no understanding. It's like, sorry without understanding. It's like, okay, you sorry, I understand that you know I'm mad, so that's why you sorry.
Right.
And then you don't want us to separate, so that's why you sorry.
Right.
But do you understand why I'm really
Right.
mad and why you should have done that, so it can never, ever,
Now,
ever, ever,
that's
ever
key.
happen?
And that's what
Right there.
Eugene
I'm
said.
on
I
that.
love that
Key
because
right
he
there.
said that too.
Yeah.
You know, it's basically, you know, verbalizing something and putting action to it.
Exactly.
Now, I said I'm sorry for, you know, taking all the money out your wallet. I mean, so next time, I'm not going to take
Clap,
Oh, you just gonna take some?
Damn.
You just gonna take some?
We'll have to watch
No.
this one.
But if you keep doing it,
Yes,
I'm gonna tell you to go see
some.
a counselor. If you keep doing it, I'm gonna tell you to go see a counselor because that's repetitive. You're gonna need some help,
So,
professional help.
So,
I would
you know,
say the key to that when someone say I'm sorry, again, like you know earlier we was talking about, it's okay, what's behind that, you know? And again, like you say, a lot of times once you see someone in person, you got an idea. You know this person, you know y'all been friends for a while, or you've been in a relationship with this person, you kind of know. When that person say I'm sorry and it's sincere, and then their actions begin to change. You know, they start to do things a little bit different, the way that they should, and they're respecting you as a person. And you're like, you know what? They are sorry. You know, I can receive that. So it's action all the
I
time.
love that. I love that. Okay, well, we have to move on because this is the Personal Connect panel. So we all know that you guys have a story that personally connects to reconciliation. And briefly, I just want you to just let me know something that you know, something that was revealed to you that you did wrong and how you went about to rectify it, and maybe we can help some other people. Wow. I'm going to start with Eugena.
Well, I'll say this. There's someone very special to me, you know, very close to me, and we had a parting of ways, disagreement. We both felt that we were right, you know. And is saying sorry enough? But sometimes saying sorry is hard. So basically, what we did was, you know, we let each other know that at some point within that separation that, you know, we loved each other and that we were trying to reach out. And then finally it was kind of like just, you know, I love you, I miss you, and just kept moving forward.
Beautiful. I love that. What about you?
Wow. Well, for myself, I had a very best friend, and I kind of thought she kicked me to the curb because there was another person that came in, and I kind of got a little jealous. So I didn't talk to her for a hot little minute, and I did eventually come to my senses and call her up, and I said, you know what, I haven't spoken to you because this is what I felt. I felt like you had just forgotten about me and started dealing with somebody else. And we ended up talking, we had a long conversation, we got it all ironed out, and to this day, we are still the very best of friends.
I love that. Okay, hopefully we got some happy ever afters over here because the women seem to know how to rectify their situation. So.
Oh, they do. Oh, come on, man. We can't let her come in there like that now.
Okay, so we're going to start with you, Eugene. Come on, tell us.
I'm really having a hard time. I'm really thinking about whom, you know, someone that I had a problem with. Usually I don't really have a problem with anyone. I'm always the person that's willing to be the bigger person.
Well, if that's the case, then just tell us a time where maybe someone did something to you and what they did to make it up and how you received them.
Okay.
You know, so let us know a little bit about
well,
that.
in a situation where you having a kid's mother and you have some problems as far as being disrespectful or deciding that what's more important is the clubs and versus the relationship. You know, and then to get to a point where the person didn't say, you know what, I value the relationship a little bit more, and I'm sorry, but just kind of been around the wrong crowd, and I was kind of doing what I wanted to do and what I thought was best, but I realized that the family is more important, you know, and so on that level, just being able to step up, the person being able to step up and, you know, being able to forgive and being able to move on.
So that impressed you with the fact that they were able to recognize what they were doing to you and rectify that situation.
Exactly,
Beautiful,
exactly.
beautiful.
Exactly,
All right,
yes.
well, we're going to hear from Rob.
Well, the question being,
Okay. Well, you can tell us where somebody hurt you or where you hurt someone else, but the
Gotta
main thing
represent.
is,
Yes,
you know,
gotta
what we can,
represent.
what we
Sit
can
up
do to
like
get
that,
over
right
it.
now.
Okay.
I want to hear
What we can do
this.
to get over it.
okay, well, it's like, I think that's the most clear situation I can remember. It was a friend of mine that was later an artist, and he wanted me to represent him as far as management to some other big company. When I went there, I presented to represent myself to build value on why my concepts were good for this particular artist. He took it the total wrong way, and we ended up not speaking for a long time, and it was painful because my intentions were to help him, but I guess with alcohol involved and him being not too much of a business type person, more of just the artist mind, he didn't understand the negotiations of business and bringing the bigger card to the table. But later when he emailed, like, a year later, and I saw it, then I responded, and it felt good to see that, you know what I'm saying? It felt good to respond, to let him know that, I didn't hold that much of a grudge, but at that time it was bad. So I guess maybe it was, I forgave.
Yes.
I love that.
Yes,
Okay,
yes.
Would you like to weigh in on this?
Nothing juicy.
Well, because men I gotta get something juicy. Nah, let's see. Well, time as far as when I had went through a situation similar, like I threw out there earlier. I had a friend that dated a person that I was trying to date in high school or whatnot, and for a couple of years, we kind of didn't really socialize anymore. You know how you do. You kind of just get your distance from a person. Like, you go that way, I go this way, But then, the thing that really came to it was I didn't have to hold on to. It take a lot of energy to stay mad. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
And that's something that I normally don't do. But for some reason, when it's a best friend type of situation, you kind of be like, wow, it's almost like bad somebody cheating on you. You know what I mean? Because the friend know you.
Yes.
The friend should know you. You know what I mean? So with that being said, I just learning that people have feelings. Everybody has feelings. So knowing that they'll change over time, and knowing that things will work out sometimes. We men, so I ain't gonna say men code. I ain't gonna be going, I'm sorry, man. I'm sorry. I ain't expecting him to come at me, dude. I'm sorry, man. I'm sorry.
Yes.
Look. It's over.
But it's like an understanding.
Right, it becomes an understanding because of the fact of, you still want that friendship that you had. You know what I mean? You still want that value that they brought into your life, but you just got to get them straight. Sometimes time will do that.
Yes.
Time will get them straight, and then all of a sudden now they friend that you had before the discrepancy.
Absolutely. Well, we want to thank everyone at home or wherever you are, you're tuning in to us. I hope that everything that was said today can actually, register with you, because the truth of the matter is, it doesn't matter whether you're in the wrong or the person who hurt you is in the wrong. Sometimes you don't even know. Communication is the key. Never be too big or feel too small to apologize, because open up your mouth and saying something makes a difference. It can really, solidify your relationship, or it can define your relationship. Don't assume everyone knows what you know and they're going to receive things or say things the way you would. Remember that you are different, and those differences can be the biggest qualities that keep you together. Remember that life goes up, life goes down, and it moves left and right, and it's never going to go according to plan. Just remember communication and love everyone that you come in contact with or you build a relationship with. We want to thank everybody for being here with us today.
Yes, we do.
Because we're at Christina's Motivated Moment, where a problem is not a problem unless you make it one. Thank you for watching. Thank you guys for being here.
Thank you for having us.
Thank you.